Hello, Dom, and welcome back to the channel.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm happy to be here.
Really a pleasure to have you back on the channel.
Great, man.
So I've got a couple of questions, obviously, before we dive into LolComp. And the first one is, what's your favorite part of music production?
Well, I think the favorite, wow, like music production is the thing that basically encompasses my whole life. So, I mean, it's hard to say, but the most beautiful, I would say one thing that sticks out to me is the personal challenge. Apart from all the creative outlet and loving to make music, yes, on the one hand, but for me, it's the creative challenge and being able to really challenge myself, coming up with better stuff every single time, doing new things, especially when I'm working in K-pop. I mean, that's my main focus right now. And there's 5,000 genres in one song. It's so crazy, and there's no blueprint. They do everything. They do jazz records, and it's still called pop in Korea. They do big band records. They do punk and rock and almost metal-ish. Everything is allowed there. So it's always a challenge, and that's what I love most.
Right. So, talking about K-pop, how do you deal with, new clients?
I would say I don't think so much in clients. The way like K-pop is a special animal in the music industry. Like the Western world doesn't work like that. In K-pop, you usually create songs, write songs, produce them, have top liners create the top line, lyrics and melody, and then you pitch the song, usually through a publisher, to the labels, and they will listen to all the submissions. It's not like anywhere else. They listen to all the submissions, and they don't necessarily care for what you've done before. If the song is great, they will take it. So what you actually have to do, and what I'm focusing on right now, is just building my catalog, starting the work with as many great people as possible, inspiring each other, learning from each other. And the more songs you have in your catalog, they are pitched time and time again until sometimes you pitch a song and it doesn't get cut right away. But then 2 years later, the label comes back because they have a concept that now the song is perfect for. It's not about quality all the time, most of the time, actually. It's more like, does this song fit the actual current vision that we have for that artist? If not, doesn't get cut now, maybe it gets cut later.
Right. Obviously, talking about working with top artists, you've worked with, the kinds of Taylor Swift and now K-pop. So how do you deal with pressure working with top artists?
I would say the first one is the most difficult as far as pressure and as far as confidence, because you've never done it before. For me, that was the Eminem project in 2020. That was, of course, like when I started working on that, I was like, oh my God, am I able to do this? And because I didn't know. But of course, you cannot tell that to anyone. Yeah, you have to grind away, and if it takes you a couple days without sleep, because that's how long you take, because you aren't routined in that aspect yet, then you have to do it. But in the end, you have to deliver the final result. And the more you do that, like second, third, fourth, fifth project, you develop that confidence that it doesn't matter who the artist is. Can be big, can be small, but you know what you've done before, and you know that you can deliver again. So in the beginning, you have to just go with the flow and just give your very best and try to not fuck it up.
Right. That's absolutely true. So talking about Mixing Night Audio, which you are a big part of, and there will be a new release, the plugin LolComp. So can you tell us a bit more about the plugin?
Yes, I'm going to show you in a minute, actually. I have a session prepared where I can show you a couple quick things about the plugin. And man, it's like we have developed that thing for almost a year, I would say. A lot of testing from the first vision to now. Next Monday, it's coming out, August 14th. And in that whole time, we went so many times. We went back and forth. Thinking about what do we want to give people at all, like what's the core of the plugin. And LolComp is essentially 5 great ready-made compression chains. And what I mean by that is you're going to see it in a minute, but you have a super simple user interface with one big knob and like an input and output slider, fader. And you only turn the knob, the dial, and we have created it in a way that it works on pretty much everything. And what happens under the hood is there's all these things like attack, release, knee, threshold, ratio, plus EQing, plus a couple other like saturation stuff. There is a lot of effects under the hood, and they all work in relation to each other. When you turn the dial, like you have all these percentages going up and going down within all these parameters. And that's why it works on pretty much everything. We have 5 different chains for 5 different flavors, 5 different vibes, and usually one of them gives you exactly what you need.
Right. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Let me just show you if you want.
Yeah, go for it. I can't wait to.
Awesome. Let me just share my screen here, and let's see if I do that right. Share sound stereo. So this is a session. I've just preloaded a couple audio files here, color-coded them so I know what instruments they are, so just to make it easier to show you that stuff. And here is our beautiful plugin, Lolcomp. This is the box. Let me just toggle that off. You see, you have the main dial right here that I told you about. This is all, and it's lolling at you. We want to make fun plugins for people to actually enjoy using. That's what we're doing. Input slider, output slider on the other side. This is pretty much everything that you need to make this plugin work. And then we have 5 chains here. Let me make let me make this bigger just to show you. This is obviously the lol chain, the smiley chain. Then we have the panda. Let me show that to you. This guy is so cute. The kangaroo chain, which is kind of the punch chain here. You can see that guy was throwing down a lot of punches there and catching a lot of punches. The peacock. So the peacock chain is kind of a beautifier. You put that on stuff that's just a little bit dull, and most of the time it gives you that sparkle, and it makes things more beautiful. I mean, there is so much going on under the hood. I cannot explain that technically to you. And we don't want people to think technically. That's why we design these plugins in this way, that they're just fun to look at, easy to use for non-mixers and also for pros, because this plugin and the 5 chains have been developed mainly by Ken Lewis. And Ken Lewis has 114 gold records and platinum records, 57 Grammy nominations to his name. So this is like, don't be fooled by the user interface. If you're like, oh, this is not a real compressor, this doesn't look like, this is for kids and all that stuff we hear from people all the time. That's what we want. We want to be creative because there's enough analog emulations and the graphical emulations of those analog boxes. We don't need that because everybody else does that, and probably better than we do, but we do this better than everyone else. And this last one is a dragon chain. All those 5 chains have been created by Ken Lewis out of his 30 years in the absolute top major league music industry as a mixer. So it doesn't just look and feel great to use. It actually sounds great. We tested this across every single thing. You're going to hear it now. Right. I mean, he's using it pretty much 80% of the time now in his mixes. Like 80% of his compressors are Lolcomp. You just have to pull up one of his sessions. You're going to see it. It's not like, we have videos showing that that's true. I'm not just saying that. It's crazy. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So without talking too much, let me just show you a couple things. Let's pull up this drum loop right here. And I'm going to play that first with bypass, and then I'm just going to go through the chains and tell you a little bit about what I'm doing and why I would do it.
Right.
Fairly simple drum loop. Let me turn on Lolcomp. So the smiley chain is kind of the normal pulling things together compressor. Like this would be the perfect vocal chain. I would put this on every single vocal I'm recording and I'm mixing, and try Lolcomp first with the smiley chain. And usually it gives you great results. Like it's so crazy what's going on with this. But let me just show you a couple of the other chains, what they do with the same drum loop, so you can get a quick impression of the versatility. Then I'm going to show you all the stuff that is in this parallel section, which I have not yet toggled. So you're going to see that in a minute. Chain, let's go to the Panda chain, which is like a low-end 808 rumbling chain. Hear how it brings out that kick drum. Next one is punch chain, the kangaroo. And what you're hearing with the punch chain is the transients come through, like the drums start punching you more. The attack gets more aggressive. Let's listen to that. Default. Whenever you see me pushing this button here, I bypass the plugin. When it's gray, it's bypassed. When it's blue, it's on. Just to explain that to everyone watching this video. Peacock, let me give you what this bird does. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That's the funny thing. This is such a confusing chain, and it doesn't work on everything, but when it works, it's beautiful. Let's see if it works here. Nice. You see, I use the input and output fader as well, because I wanted to push a little more of the drums into the chain to get a little stronger reaction, to show you the effect so that you can hear it better. And then that's what you can do as well with every single chain. The more you push into it, the stronger the effect is. And then you can just compensate it with the output fader as well. So that's what I did there. Let me show you the dragon chain, just so you have a full picture. The dragon chain is the destruction chain. So this starts with beautiful saturation, and it can go to distortion mayhem, really, if you push it to 100%. Again, like this chain gives you a lot of vibe. On drums, usually it will get pretty messy, but I'm going to show you a couple other things as well that work perfectly with Dragon.
Right.
What you can do before I take a minute, if you have any questions, but what you can do, for example, if you like the tone, like you push really hard into the chain and you like the tone, what you then can do is just pull down the input slider fader, so it gives you still that flavor, but a little less of the push and the destruction, really. Listen to this. First I dial in how much I like with this percentage, and then I will pull down the input slider fader just a bit. Yeah, this is awesome, honestly.
Yes, absolutely. I could already hear the potential.
Man, and the next thing I would like to do is just browse a couple presets on some of these other elements here. This was just to show you how fast and easy you get different results. And we have loaded this thing with 100 presets. So let me just browse a couple of them so you can really see what happens. See, this is a piano, hopefully. I'm just going to go through presets with this.
All right.
I don't know what happens now, so let's discover together. Character there. Check this out. This is so cool. And that's what I mean by just browsing presets. When you have no idea what's missing to your dull sounds, but you kind of find the piano boring, but you don't know what it needs, I take this plugin all the time, just throw it on and browse presets. And this is what happens. Look how this setting works with the piano when I engage it here. I mean, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it definitely brought it to life. The only thing missing is maybe if we pull the output down a bit just to level match to some extent.
Oh yeah, I can definitely do that.
Absolutely. You could already hear, all the transients coming through.
Yeah, and it gets that grit and it's just character. It feels like you throw it through a tube machine, basically, like an analog amplifier or something. Let me level match. This is so beautiful. This would inspire me right away to write a full song with this thing.
Definitely. It took the piano to a whole new level.
And it's so crazy. And I opened this parallel section just to show you what it does here. We have those LMAO modules. Of course, that was intentional. And you can toggle them on and off one by one. We also have filters, which you can toggle between pre and post. And we have a mix knob for the whole plugin goes into this mix knob. So whatever you do with this will affect not only the bottom section, but also the full chain, like the Panda chain, the Dragon chain, all of that. So parallel compression, basically. Let me show you on another example, like this beautiful instrumental part here, what those elements in the bottom section do, because they are really what makes Lolcomp unique. Because compression chains, even though they are great, they're outstanding, and the stuff that is going on under the hood, you would need 5 or 6 or 7 plugins to build each of these chains, and then you would always have to tweak them by hand for every single sound. That's what these chains are. But what makes this even more infinitely powerful is this parallel section with those tone shaping modules that you have here, because they're like no other plugin in the market can do what this thing can do, especially in combination with the top section. Let me just fiddle around a bit on this instrumental here, and I will explain a little bit what happens, and most of all, you can hear what happens right away. First of all, I would try to quickly dial in a general compression for this. First of all, Levitate is gonna make your sound brighter, thinner, or fatter on the other side. Let's just watch what I do with this knob here, and you will hear it right away. For example, if I like it so heavy in the bottom end, like I don't want the bright, I rather want it a little bit thicker, chunkier in the bottom end. I would pull it right here, and then if it's too muddy, I can use the filters to take some of that mud out again. So beautiful. You can also automate these. That's why I'm doing this. Like when you automate that stuff, that's incredibly powerful.
Yeah, see, we are moving it up and down. You actually created this nice filter sweep.
Right. You can just you can do that with your mouse and automate it in your session, and then you have all those super interesting, like imagine doing that on a drum loop or on a synth lead or something, or an 808. That would be super dope. Okay, let's keep going with the mash is basically a limiter, which it's just a musical limiter. It pushes things even further together, and it's in the middle of this whole chain. So it's after the compressor has done its work, and you do some of the other modules, and then you limit it again. Just a gentle limiting really going on. Awaken is my personal favorite module. We have the lavender and the haze mode, which you can switch between right here. And you're going to see what happens. I'm just going to play you and, of course, turn it up and then switch the modes here. You're going to be able to hear what happens. Basically, what happens is lavender awakens your mids, brings out the mid frequencies really well. It's not an exciter, but it does similar things. And the haze mode is kind of an air band. It does kind of the same thing, but it just awakens the high frequencies. You can hear that especially in those clicker percussions. When I turn the awaken on and off, you will hear right away in those top end hi-hat style percussions. Whereas the lavender brings out the piano more, or like the piano style key instrument that you have there. Yeah, that's my favorite module of all the modules down here. But Oxidate is pretty close because it's our reverb and vibe module. We have 5 different modes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which are all handcrafted reverb spaces. And this gives you the opportunity to dial in more or less. Like it's like an intensity knob. How much of the reverb effect do you want? And on top of that, then you can also put it pre or post this main chain. So I'm showing you in a second what that does, but let's stay in post, which is kind of the normal thing. Center is the normal reverb. Let me show you those flavors. Actually, I need to show you those flavors on something else. Okay, so this is the dry guitar. Reverb number 1. Number 2. Isn't that cool?
Oh yeah, I actually like that number 4 on the reverb. It's very, very, splashy and
yeah, it's like a big hall basically. When I have turned the filter down because there's all this from the distortion and the reverb. There's a lot of high end going on without the filter. You see? This is the dry guitar.
yeah.
And Lolcomp. This is so cool, man. This is honestly.
That's really, awesome box, to be fair. Because once you turn it off, that sounds very, very boring.
Yeah, right? But you only hear that when you have the before and after. It's so let me just browse a couple more of those presets just to show you because the guitar is super lame without anything. So maybe we find a super, super gem just in those presets. Okay?
Right.
What you hear with this as well is it brings up the noise in the guitar track. Like the guitar was recorded with a microphone and there is all this like room vinyl noise going on. I don't exactly know what it is, but the compressor brings it up. And listen to the vibe and the feel that you get from this. Like, let me turn it off again, and when I turn it on, listen to the surround noise. It's so cool. Oh, that's cool. Man, this is just a guitar track. I mean, this works on pretty much everything, and it's so creative and so fun. Like, you see me doing that. It's just turning knobs and listening to what happens, and you get great results out of it all the time, and super fast and super easy.
True. So I've actually seen, buying this is not just buying a compressor plugin, but also the foam bit that comes underneath.
Absolutely. I cannot tell you how many times I pull up Lolcomp and then just to use the oxidate reverb, because if I want a room style reverb, I take the mode number 3 and I just leave the compression in the default state, and I just pull up the 3 and adjust it to taste, and that's my room reverb, like on snares, for example, or on acoustic guitars sometimes, whatever. Maybe even on vocals. Sometimes I use that, and I use the mix knob, and it's my room reverb.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Any questions?
No, I think this is all self-explanatory. When is the comp coming to the market? When can people actually buy it?
It's on pre-sale right now. We have August 10th as of recording this. You can pre-order it until August 13th, which is Sunday, and on midnight Monday, and Sunday to Monday on midnight, it will be available for download. Like, we will deliver the licenses on midnight, or actually 1 minute after midnight.
Wow.
We will deliver the licenses, and then everybody can have it and also just buy it and start a trial. The retail price for this is $149, and we're pre-selling it right now for only $97. So that's like a 33% haircut, and you should get it.
Awesome. Yeah, it's definitely worth getting.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is so cool. I love this so much.
Yeah, I think, like you said, that Awaken is really even worth the price for admission, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the Awaken and the Oxidate. No other compressor has these tone shaping things, and you can create the whole sound design of the vibe of your elements in a song within this box. You don't need anything else. You can just create the general vibe you want with this, and then adjust to taste with anything else you want to slap on, maybe. But I do this all the time, using Lolcomp for my sound creation, and then most of the time I'm done.
Yeah. I could see this, pairing so well with GreenHAAS.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, it's, oh, let me pull that up just to have the family together here. This is like the number 1 and number 2. They go together really well. You can start collecting Mixing Night audio plugins if you want.
Yeah.
It's highly recommended.
Awesome. Obviously, with the GUI, looking like nothing that I've seen in the market in plugin world, obviously makes it even very unique.
Absolutely. A lot of people are going to be repelled by this as well. Like, we get a lot of feedback like, why do you design plugins for kids? But it's not what it is. You heard what it can do. And if the
sound is the most important thing.
Right. And if the interface is pushing you away, then so be it. Then we're not creating plugins for you. You cannot make everyone happy. But for us and the people who think alike, like us, it's so much fun using these plugins. It's so simple. And the plant right here, when you just turn that dial and the plant grows, or the faces in this, like, this just makes me want to use them. I'm honest. And it's because we all know the analog emulation stuff, and we have all seen 5,000 Puigtec interfaces and 5,000 LA2A interface and 1176s. We don't need another one of those. It's just, we have them.
True.
So that's kind of the philosophy behind it.
Absolutely true. So the last question I'll throw in is this plugin modeled after any specific compressor?
No, it's not. It's not modeled after a specific compressor. It's modeled after specific workflows and specific purposes. Like I said, as a mixer, you have these situations when you, for example, you're mixing a rap song and the rap vocals are not quite in your face enough, quite aggressive enough, and that's when you use a compressor to make them a little more aggressive, a little more upfront. And one of our chains, the punch chain, is kind of modeled after that. Not only rap vocals, but that's one instance of that. When you need things to come forward a little bit more and gain more energy, gain more punch. Brass stabs, for example, as well. Like when you have a big band track or a brass heavy track, that's the same thing. Those kinds of things. And that's what Lolcomp is modeled after. Like, what is the main purpose of a great vocal chain? And then we put that into one of those chains. What do I need from a low end, like an 808 compressor or a bass guitar compressor? Then we took that and put it in another chain. Under the hood, it's like a chain of 5, 6, 7 plugins, a compressor maybe, and then something else happens. Maybe an EQ in between, another compressor doing a little bit, and then a limiter, like a saturator, and another compressor, and all those work in tandem. And if you would see the sliders and faders on all those things, it would move all the time. For every single percentage you turn the actual Lolcomp knob. That's why it's so complicated to build it yourself, and we just put that under the hood in this box. That's what it's modeled after: workflows and purpose.
What project are you currently working on that you would like to share?
Well, I would like to share a big project for myself, which I'm not working on right now, but which came out on Monday, last Monday, like 3 days ago. My first K-pop single that I have produced, and I'm the K-pop major label single. It's so cool. It's called Vuja Day, like Deja Vu, but Vuja Day.
Right.
And it's the lead single of the artist Yuno. He's one half of TVXQ, which is kind of a big K-pop act, and also big in Japan. He's so cool. He made such a he sang that thing and interpreted it so great. I love the song. It's like a big band dance, modern vibe. Definitely listen to it. That's you-know, like you know how I do things. And Vuja Day is the song. It's so cool, and I'm so happy because this is my first cut in Korea, and I hope it's the first of many.
Cool. Congratulations on that.
Thanks, man.
And thanks once again for jumping on the interview to showcase that Lolcomp, because it's really what checking out. I will definitely go check it out, and obviously I'll urge all the viewers to also do the same.
Yeah, me too. You should all check it. We have a free trial. Like on Monday, when the plugin is available to the public, we have a fully functional 14-day free trial. So you can at least try it and see what I did here on screen. Just play around with it a little bit. And if it's for you, great. If it's not for you, you didn't get hurt by trying it.
Definitely. Definitely. Thank you. And hopefully we'll see you back on the channel some other time.
I would love that. Thank you so much for the invitation.
You're welcome. See you.
See ya.